My name's John Gill, born at Kundra, Victoria, 1937.
John grew up travelling town to town in the days of the Wild West shows. The ABCRA was yet to exist, and the world of organised rodeo was another 20 years in the future. The Second World War was in full flight, and this was John's home.
And my mother drove the living wagon that me and my two brothers lived in. That was one of the first memories I've had. Instead of getting through to the next town in about an hour, it'd be 3 or 4 days where you'd camp on the road.
Destined to take over the family business, John started earning his own living as a 7-year-old. He rode a miniature bull in a Wild West show and sold peanuts and chocolates at intervals. As John grew up and more laws were introduced when it came to parading wild stock, one thing dawned on the Gill family.
Become quite clear, if you don't breed them and feed them, you won't have them.
And so the Gills dynasty of the bucking bull was born. Meet War Chief, arguably the Gills' most famous animal athlete. After sending hundreds of cowboys flying, this is the night the chief was tamed by Tumbarumba cowboy Ben Hall.
Just to be the only one to ever ride that bull on the APRA circuit's just a treasure.
War Chief was no doubt one of the wildest bulls you'll find in a rodeo arena, but you can see that the Gills breed them different than most. Behind me is his son. There's no gate between us, and all he's interested in is stealing some oats.
Anything at all that gets wild, you get no sense out of them. But if you get them smart, and that's what we do, we make our bulls smart. They know when they're going in and out of yards and not out to go out through the gates where they don't hit their hips.
The rodeo training starts as soon as the stock are weaned off their mothers, but it begins long before they're born. Genetics are the most important thing to breeding rodeo stock. Big fronts and light back ends are just a start.
Short testicles, that all comes into what a breeding buck and bull is. And then on top of that, if you can breed a big set of horns, that scares the crap out of the bull riders half the time too.
The Gills have their own training complex. From a young age, the stock are taught how to move their way around an arena long before their first buck. The foals in this paddock range from 4 months to just 2 weeks old. Plus, there's a mare who could foal any day. They'll be dummied in 2 years' time, and we'll see them on the rodeo circuit in another 4 years.
2-year-old, we have what we call a bucking dummy.
It's a harness that works by remote control. They let the young stock into the arena. When they've completed a few good bucks, the dummy flies off. John's son Jared has also been trained from a young age to one day take over the family business.
Mind-blowing when I was a small child, I know that, to see your dad in amongst all these bulls.
You might not think it, but on their property there are family bonds as strong as the Gills.
They say, oh yeah, no, he's a part of our family. Rodeo stock, they got their own families.
It's not uncommon to have to take their friend along to a rodeo just to stand there.
It's an often unheard of side of the rodeo scene, but that's because not everyone in the industry operates like the Gills.
And not too many contractors waste the time of taking stock to a rodeo and not bucking them.
Once the stock's careers are over, their time on the Gills property is far from it.
We could have sent him down to Ascot Meats and got $2,000 for him, for meat. But I suppose that's why we're broke too. We don't do that. We're not dealers. We're just straight out rodeo people.
3 generations of Gill stock can often be seen at the same rodeo. In the coming years, we could see the same thing with the Gill family.
I don't hope. I'm going to make sure of it.
To see, your father, standing there and talking about his horses and bulls and that, it's sort of a want. You want to get to there.
But with every generation comes a new way of doing things.
Definitely have my own little flair. We we agree on a lot, but we can disagree on things and that too.
For John, it's almost like deja vu.
I thought he was an old mongrel too, the way he used to make me work. Now I'm that old mongrel.
Jared hopes the same for the next generation. But if John's got anything to do with it, the Gills will be in the rodeo game for many years to come.
This can all go to St Vincent's de Paul or something, and they're not going to get it and just spend it and go and get into the ice and whatever else they do, like some of these young people. Yeah, no, this is rodeo.
Lauren Markham, Prime 7 News.